Right now at 6, we're live at the starting line of the William A Irvin 5K. We'll take you there. Plus, we'll hear about the economic impact Grandma's Marathon weekend has on local businesses. And we'll meet some of the youngest runners taking part in this year's Grandma's festivities.
From KBJR 6, your weather authority, this is the KBJR 6 News at 6.
More than 60 countries are represented in this year's field of athletes. Grandma's Marathon is welcoming those folks to town with their national flags flying behind the deck. They hope this will help everyone feel welcome as they run the last leg of the race. And good evening, I'm Rob Coles. Thanks for joining us. Dan is off tonight. After a shuffles Grandma's Marathon the past few years, the race is finally reaching normalcy, and today marks the kickoff of the 47th Grandma's Marathon weekend with the William A Irvin 5K, where runners from around the world have gathered to compete right here in the Northland. And KBJR 6's Alexis Bass is live at the starting line, catching all that live action. Alexis, it looks beautiful out there. How's the energy?
Yeah, Robbie, see, I seriously could not have panned out and planned out a more perfect day to kick off this Grandma's Marathon weekend. Just as you saw, we just kicked off the William A Irvin 5K for the 29th time. And this year includes just a few changes, one including the starting point here at the deck. The reason for that is just to allow for more space for the racers and more competitors. In fact, this year's participants is at an all-time high, 2,700 racers. So, Rob, we will have all the latest and greatest coming up in just a few minutes as we take our way to the finish line in just a few minutes to catch up with some racers. So we'll have all that for you.
You are right, Alexis, you are right in the center of all the action there.
I am. I actually think I should start locking my L's on over there.
All right, well, Alexis, we'll look forward to seeing all the racers cross the finish line in just a bit. And if you're still heading down to Canal Park tonight, you'll want to plan ahead. As you can see in this live look at the deck area, traffic is pretty heavy right now. Things should die down when the 5K wraps up shortly after 7. Tomorrow will also bring road closures, so drivers will want to consider that. We have more information about those on KBJR6.com. And it's one of the biggest weekends of the year, not just for runners, but for Duluth's economy. Grandma's Marathon brings in a massive amount of cash each year, and for some businesses, it can be a game changer. KBJR 6's Quinn Gorham reports.
There's nothing like Grandma's Marathon.
It's a weekend that brings almost 20,000 runners and their families and friends to Duluth each year, the unofficial kickoff to summer. But Matt Baumgartner, president of the Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce, says for many businesses, it's a lot more than a good time.
What that means is $21 million of economic impact happening in our community on just a weekend. And that means everything to this business community.
According to Baumgartner, some businesses can see up to 3 times the income they bring in on a normal weekend. And with this year's races sold out, he says a lot of them are anticipating the visitors they'll get this weekend.
It's the first day that they'll cash flow since last summer, and so it's just really an exciting time that everybody ramps up for.
That's big news for businesses like Chacho's Taqueria.
A lot of people come through. The finish line's right here, and hopefully with our new storefront and menu board up and some new menu items, it'll draw in a lot of people.
Co-owner Aaron Maloney says the business is already seeing a massive influx of people.
We've already started to meet people from different parts of the country and just see this area alive again.
And Baumgartner says the weekend is an opportunity for businesses all over the area that are just like Chacho's.
An event like Grandma's Marathon, where you have 50,000 people, most of which from outside of the area come here, that becomes a force multiplier to being able to expose people to your new business, your new good, or your new service.
And this year's marathon is already making a big splash. It's the first sellout since 2016, well before the COVID-19 pandemic. And for tomorrow's races, runners take off bright and early. The half marathon starts at 6 a.m. and full marathon begins in Two Harbors at 7:45. That's also when the women's elite runners take off. The wheelchair and men's elite athletes will start a few minutes before that. All runners finish in Canal Park. And you can still sign up to track your favorite runner. All you need is the Grandma's Marathon mobile app. It will give you real-time updates on when the athlete passes certain points in either the full or half marathons. And it looks like the weather will be pretty good for the race this year. Bo Fogel is joining us with a special Grandma's Marathon forecast?
It's going to be perfect. If you think this is beautiful, this is going to continue for pretty much the entire marathon, even though we will see a couple of clouds by the end of it. But for the forecast for tomorrow, we're going to start out beautiful, sunny. Temperature is going to be seasonal, and we're going to see winds come off of the lake. So it'll give that nice, cool breeze for the runners and the spectators. And temperatures are not going to warm up as much as they were today. But as we head through the morning hours, we are going to see clouds increase a little bit. Fortunately, there is no rain expected during the marathon. Temperatures right now pretty nice in the mid-70s, but we're beginning to see those winds take effect. They're beginning to shift off of the lake, so those temperatures around the lake are starting to cool off. Weather Watchers highs today. Thanks again for everybody who reported. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Didn't really receive a whole lot of 80s. Only Silver Bay reached 83 degrees for a high. For Wisconsin, 78 in Iron River, 77 for Ashland, and 72 for Ironwood. And tonight, we're going to continue on seeing clear skies. Temperatures falling down to the upper 40s. Now, Rob, I am tracking the next heat wave that is going to impact the Northland, and it is going to include Duluth. I'll break down how hot it will get in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks, Bo. Well, thousands of people are making their way to Canal Park to get their spaghetti fill. The Michelina's all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner kicked off this morning at the deck. It's a pre-race tradition for runners and the public since Grandma's Marathon began in 1977. Organizers are planning to serve around 8,000 plates of spaghetti, 40,000 meatballs, and 8,000 servings of milk throughout the meal. We spoke to a runner taking it all in for the first time.
I've never done this marathon. I've done the Twin Cities Marathon twice. Why am I here today? Fuel up for tomorrow. And, you know, see a little bit of the city and get some good sleep tonight.
Tickets for the all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner are $16 for adults, $8 for kids ages 5 to 12, and kids under 4 eat free. The meal, which is in the Lake Superior Ballroom, runs through 9 o'clock tonight. And after getting your fill of spaghetti, head down to one of the largest fitness conventions in the nation. The Essentia Health Fitness Expo is also at the deck and runs through 8 tonight. This year's expo has more than 100 vendors and showcases the latest products, technology, and nutrition in the running and athletic industry. It's also where you can pick up your race packet. It's free and open to the public. For more information on the events happening at the deck this weekend, head to KBJR6.com. And some of the youngest racers kicked off Grandma's Marathon weekend today. The annual Whippersnappers races kicked off this afternoon at Bayfront Festival Park. The mascot race was first in the lineup, featuring Victor the Viking and UMD's Champ the Bulldog, among others. Kids of all ages from 1-year-old to 14 lined up at the starting line shortly after to get their chance to compete. One runner said this race was all for fun.
I don't really care about points that come in. It's just about running for me because I like the outdoors and I like to run.
The Young Athletes Foundation puts on the Whippersnappers races and help promote healthy and active lifestyles for kids. And the Whippersnapper races weren't the only thing families got to enjoy at Bayfront Park today. The Young Athletes Foundation hosted the first ever Kids Festival, complete with local vendors. Kids could climb a rock wall and jump around in bounce houses across the lawn. Now, the Lake Superior Zoo also hosted a petting zoo with turtles and even a snake. And still to come, one of Minnesota's U.S. senators made several stops in the Northland today. We'll hear why. A man who stormed a medical clinic in Minnesota fatally shot one person and wounded 4 others will spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge sentenced Gregory Ulrich today. He opened fire at a clinic in Buffalo back in February 2021, killing Lindsay Overbay, a 37-year-old medical assistant. A jury found him guilty of premeditated murder earlier this month. And Minnesota's junior senator met with Duluth airport officials today, learning how she can help them in our nation's capital. U.S. Senator Tina Smith held a roundtable discussion to determine how to use funds from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Smith says funding from the act can be used for many projects around the region, including fixing roads and bridges, improving mass transit, and closing gaps in rural broadband service. According to Smith, she's looking to get these projects moving quickly while the weather can accommodate construction.
In the North Country, our construction season is pretty short, so we don't have a lot of time to waste. We need to make sure that we get things flowing so that we can make these much-needed improvements.
In addition to stopping at the airport, Smith also toured Cirrus Aircraft, met with leaders at a women's reproductive health facility, and attended a Juneteenth lunch at City Hall. It looks like chances of Minnesota lawmakers heading back to finish unfinished business are low. A special legislative session would have allowed lawmakers to consider billions of dollars in tax cuts and new spending in Minnesota. They couldn't come to an agreement during regular session, which ended last month. Democratic Governor Tim Walz said last night talks with Republican leaders aren't going anywhere, leaving billions of dollars from a state surplus unspent. And Wisconsin is organizing teams to help schools deal with critical incidents like a shooting. The Wisconsin Department of Justice is leading the efforts. The 12 regional teams will be made up of law enforcement, school administrators, counselors, social workers, teachers, and more. They're being trained on how to minimize the psychological impact of school-related critical incidents and identify people in need of long-term mental health support. This comes as U.S. senators are trying to finalize details of a gun violence bill. And still to come, we'll hear the inspirational journey of a local hockey coach running this year's marathon.
And temperatures were very pleasant for today, very seasonal, but get ready, folks, because we're about to see 90-degree weather hit the Northland. I'll break down the forecast coming up next. When we have all this heat, it can really begin showers and storms. The storms can definitely develop with all this heat here, so we'll definitely prepare for that.
All right, thanks, Bo. Yep. Well, about 7 years ago, one Duluth woman could barely walk 10 feet. Now she's attempting to run 26.2 miles during Grandma's Marathon. Julianne Vazacek, who coaches the St. Scholastico women's hockey team, got a rare liver disease diagnosis that threw her life off course in 2009. Her symptoms suddenly worsened in 2015, and she had to get an emergency liver transplant. She was so sick, she wasn't awake for the 5 days she waited for the liver donor. Once she woke up from surgery, she could barely move. As a three-time national champion for UMD's women's hockey team and a member of the U.S. national team, Vazacek is a serious athlete. Her tenacious attitude helped to get her through recovery and now to the starting line of Grandma's Marathon. She says she is ready to leave it all on the course tomorrow.
I've put in some hard work. I've put in a long road, certainly in 7 years since the transplant. And so it's kind of a culmination. So I know that no matter what happens tomorrow, I'm going to finish, and it's going to be fun.
Vazacek will be running the marathon alongside someone very special tomorrow. We have more on that tonight at 10. And joining us is Matt Halverson with a look at sports. Now, the elite field of the competitive, kind of the more competitive race, it's very competitive this year.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a really good one. We heard from some of the runners at this morning's pre-race press conferences. We're going to take you there and look at who might be winning Grandma's Marathon this year, as well as the finish line from tonight's William A Irvin 5K with Alexis Bass. Well, the elite field for tomorrow's 47th annual Grandma's Marathon is shaping up to be as competitive as it's ever been, with multiple returning champions ready for more. On the men's side, Alicia Barno is back, who most recently won in 2019 and has won Grandma's Marathon 4 times. He's joined by 2 other Kenyans atop the elite starting list in Milton Rodich, last year's champion, and Dominic Ondoro, who holds the Grandma's Marathon course record from back in 2014 with a time of 2 hours and 9 minutes.
I'm very happy to come back to Grandma's since 2019, and I'm very happy to run in Grandma's. Duluth, I like Duluth.
It's gonna be exciting because the competition will be tough because we have him 4 times winner and CJ here, and there's some other Kenyans who are here also. So
I just really hate losing, so I don't have to think about anything. It's just like if a guy's passing me, it's like this is so it's so irritating. Like I gotta find a way to beat them, but the conditions will be fast, and sometimes that leads to a really fast race. Sometimes it doesn't, but I think there's a good chance that it'll be pretty fast and that a lot of people will run well.
Another former champion, Boniface Bones Congan, was a late cancellation and will not be racing tomorrow. But of course, we're about 12 hours away from that busiest day of the year in Duluth for Grandma's Marathon. But that big race kicks off tomorrow. We have one tonight. That is the William A Irvin 5K in Canal Park. Our Alexis Bass has now moved over to the finish line. And Alexis, sounds like we officially have a winner down there.
We do. We have Jesse Chettle here with us, who is our winner. He finished in 14 minutes, 53 seconds, averaging a little under 5 minutes a pace. Now, Jesse, I was talking to you a little bit earlier. Just talk about what it's been like to get you here and your story. I mean, this has been your first race back since something that you've really been battling through.
Well, so in 2014, I was diagnosed with a non-cancerous brain tumor. And a few months later, I underwent a craniotomy, which is brain surgery, and they removed the tumor. And then, I was trying to run and stuff like that, but I just wasn't feeling great, wasn't performing well. And then in 2017, we found out I had a microscopic recurrence of the brain tumor, and I went the alternative medicine route. And I've been trying to perform and run well since then, and this was the first year that it actually started clicking, and I feel kind of back to my old self. And today was my best 5K since before the brain tumor, so it's kind of an accomplishment.
And Jesse, what makes this race so special here at Grandma's? What brought you here?
I've ran the half here, and it's a great race atmosphere. I'm from Kansas City. That's where I grew up, and my friend's running the marathon tomorrow, and he was supposed to come up with another friend, and that didn't work out.
We so appreciate your time, and congratulations. And Matt, we'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Alexis. Of course, this is only the beginning of what is going to be a very busy weekend. Wheel of Fortune's coming up next. Thanks for watching.